next day of soccer practice. All this other BS came up.
Yeah.
Chuck contacted me.
Really had a busy day.
Yeah, Chuck. Yeah, in addition to work. So Chuck and Carlos, and let's hope everything works out. So.
Yeah, I'm logging into chat here, so yeah. Yeah, we can see the stream is up. So how you doing, Mike?
Set for my COVID shot on Monday.
Oh, good.
First one.
I haven't got my schedule yet, but it should be.
Which is also my 54th birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. So the Gavin before.
Well, it will be a Sunday.
Yeah, we'll do a little mini celebration on Sunday or something. Nothing big.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? Anyone can hear us out there? Testing, testing, testing. Sound good?
It does.
I already sat through a 3-hour Zoom training.
Oh.
Hopefully this is more fun. Yeah.
I hate the long Zoom meetings. You know.
Yeah, but I don't see these in the game like Zoom meetings. So this is different.
Yeah.
Luckily, there was 30 participants, so I just limited
we turn it down a little bit.
Then it's like a mass audience, we just hide in there. Yeah.
We had to leave our cameras on.
We're real early, so I know John was gonna finish up and raid in early again, so I wanted to see if I could accommodate. Oh man.
We don't know if anyone can hear us yet, so we'll see.
So next week is Gary's Isle Dread, so we're good for next week. So that's good for. So we got Legend Lore set up for next week, and I think the week after. I'm not sure if Casey's trying to set something up or not. I know he's working on something for Living Greyhawk.
LG stuff.
Yeah. So, whoops. That's that hard out that I still haven't fixed yet. Whoops. Let's hit this one.
Please, Jeff. Things you haven't fixed yet.
Yeah, it just. See, remember, I got 3 different, actually 4 different sets of types of streams. Legends of Lore, Gabbin, my normal game, and my all-star games. They're all kind of a little set up a little differently, and then so I gotta update across all of them, and it's kind of a little bit of a. It's tough to keep track of that sometimes.
Yeah.
So. I'm just making sure that, I know a lot of people just were over on Blue Box watching there. I'm just making sure that the sound, if anyone can hear us out there, the sound is working. We'll find out. That's good to hear, Cardman. Thank you. I know people are going to start popping in. I know we're early, so better early than late. Got my notes. Got a pencil. Life's good. Life is good, I guess. So.
Yeah. Yeah, now when we can be on and babble by Greyhawk, that makes it
Yeah.
a lot better. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks. Thank you. I still have the $50 STL package from this. Not given away yet.
Hey,
What's up, Dwayne? Still have that $50 STL package. No one picked it, but that's all right. We'll get that. We'll get through that.
yeah. You have to decide which show you want to put it.
Well, no, that was for the fundraiser.
Okay.
Yeah, like I still. What's the only thing I have left are Casey's books with Brian's, overlays he did. Right, I have those. I'm putting them together, and then I have the $50. That's it. So some people never got back to me, and but I got out like 85% of stuff. So, which is cool. So we're getting there. Too early, Casey. I am having a drawing tonight, though, so that is happening. Hopefully. You're always too early. It's your curse. The curse of Casey. Lots and lots of new cool stuff on the table. All new 3D prints that built in. Some like really nice stuff on the table for tomorrow night's game. But I'm not sure if we'll get that far, but we may. And Anna, I'm using the area that. Hey, what's up, artist? I'm not sure, like, so we're using the area you expanded on. We're using the what's that, the Prince Field and the SUS. Yeah. I'm using that area.
Yeah, the latest
yeah.
change. Yep.
It's perfect. I'm actually taking the locations and names out of the vaulted Patriots of Ulick. And you said, ah, Mike is like, why? I'm running this one again since we're so early. Well, I'm running that one more time. There you go. I'm gonna run it again just because it's not even 7:40, 7:50 yet, so we got some time. So, oh, look at all those great emotes that Mike has there. I'm sorry, Patrick, Canadian Ancient Gamer has.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, see, you now get. No, Patrick, I didn't get a book. Last one I got was the Morning Canaan one, man. Is that the one you're talking about? I got that. That's awesome. That I got, man. It's awesome. No, I use City of Greyhawk. I have like 5 adventuring groups in City of Greyhawk. Iron Brigade. The Legion started there, but they moved to the Shieldlands. Vengeful Justice. The Grey Company. I'm missing one. Iron Fury. There. Cannon Fighter and the Battery Geeks, too. Yep. Yeah, Mike, so the more you cheer, there's 1,000 badge, a 5,000 badge, all the way up to, no one's gotten the 100,000 badge yet. The 100,000 badge is actually Yolan Lady Ralta's House of Extrollin's heraldry. So all he's got from, and the first one, the Free City of Altamira badge, I change that every couple weeks depending on what the adventure is. Like last week I had the Narwhal Headhunter symbol up, and I can switch it now a lot quicker. So I put them, it's near Altamira, so I put the Altamira badge in there. It's like, that's the one I'm switching, is the one that most people have. So they can use a different, it's kind of cool that they put them in there. You get a lot of neat emotes, so. Patrick, I was just saying that no one's hit that plateau. And once they get to 100, I'm able to put in a 200,000 one, and I already know which one I'm going to put for that. Which is insane. That's absolutely insane. So, that's so nuts that they have one in for that. So, I got to babble here because I was all fired. I won't discuss it, but I was all fired up before we started. I told Anna. So, yeah. I'm coming down now a little bit off of that. So, all right, 7:52. We're gonna hit an entry screen and then yeah. So we have Barrier Geeks in less than 2 weeks, which is cool. There comes Blue Box.
If you're interested in running City of Greyhawk, all you need to do is get the City of Greyhawk box sets and Greyhawk and those two second edition sources of your stock building.
Yeah.
Greyhawk is, I mean, I love the Free City Greyhawk box set in From the Ashes. Thank you so very much, John. Hang in there. So, I think Free City Greyhawk. People argue with me, but I think the Free City Greyhawk box set's the best publication ever made. A lot of people say no, but I just the detail in there, and I know the map is not filled out, and Malden did a great job fixing it, but it's just the content's unbelievable. So the guilds they describe, it's just wow.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'll go to this screen. Maybe you can be able to hear me. All right. Tonight, 5 reasons to visit. Ripped off from Greyhawk Mike's 2015 Greyhawkery blog.
I guess that means I don't have to do much work.
Well, you could go beyond the 4 you have there. You have 4 up, I saw. This song is called Burn the Sky. Yeah, Chuck, I am, yeah, no phone call right now, Chuck. Can you hang out, or I'll get you tonight, afterwards, or tomorrow morning, man. One or the other. We'll get it all worked out. Before I have a coronary or I have my brain explodes. Oh my, yeah, thanks, George. I know, we're gonna come on like 5 minutes early. That's okay, 5 minutes early is fine. I already got 60 people on.
Yeah, wow. Hello, George. Awesome.
32 months. Where did the time go? Yes, exactly. Coming on a little early, and we'll just BS her a bit. Hey, one more little dab there, and we get a hype change. That's 2. So one more little dab, and we already have a hype train of anything. So. Hey, see, look at that, Tim. You are amazing. It's a great song. I hate to cut it short, but we're gonna come on. Some cool maps up. Already a hype. Yep. Thanks, Phantom. That was out. See, I was about to switch screens and I hit the wrong button. I hit my add shout out button. Duh. See? Wrong button already. Oh my. So thank you. Good evening. I'm J.K. Lord Gazumba. And by the way, I have had, and I'm not complaining, but I've had a real shitty last 2 hours, okay? That's all I'm going to say behind the scenes. So if I'm a little snarky tonight, it's nothing any of you did. Please note that. So, and welcome always Anna B. Meyer and Greyhawk Mike Bridges. So, thank you all. What a wonderful, wonderful night already.
Yeah.
So we got some gift subs going on. We got some resubs going on. We got a hype train already going. And my brain is like cooked already. So we had a week to thank you, Chuck. Thank you so much. Oh, Chuck, by the way, you don't realize this, but you're giving away stuff tonight. So I'll set that up in a second. The giveaway tonight is courtesy of Cannibal. We have a $25 gift certificate to Troller Games. And because Chuck is a good guy, we're going to give away one last time this plus a free shipping of Verdant Rage. That's 2 gifts. And then 2 more PDFs of this. So that's 4. Okay? So we're going to do 4 tonight. All Troller Games. How's that sound? Alrighty? Yes! Exactly. So,
got my drow.
you got it! Okay, and Mike got that for his donation. Yes.
Yep.
You got that for your donation to the fundraiser. Thank you so very much, Mike. So yes, we got a lot of great stuff going on. Let me get caught up here a little bit so that we see that. All right, there you go. So we needed a topic to fill because we got a monster topic next week because Gary Julian's doing it, and we'll tell you about that in a bit. Yes, that's called an after the fact raid button push, so that it gets into it gets onto the ticker. And so I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to peruse through Mike's Greyhawk Read blog because there's always great stuff there. And so I said, I'm going to pick a random year. I picked 2015, and then he had these 5 reasons to, and I was like, this is a great idea. This is great because you can come at it from another direction. So I went into Discord. I said, Mike, what do you think about this? And I was like, great idea. Mike's like, cool, sure. Mm-hmm. So tonight we will take your requests too. But we're going to, and thank you all for the great support, the cheers and the subs and everything. This is wonderful. So this is one of those nights that, this comes right off of Mike's, right off Mike's blog. He's got 4 of them I saw on there. I don't know if there are any others. I found 7. 4 of them. Oh, there's 7.
There are 7.
Oh my gosh. Do you have some going into 2016 or 2014? And I missed them.
All you have to do is go to the top tab of the home page to Best of Greyhawkery and scroll down a bit. There's a whole 5 reasons to visit section.
So I'm trying to keep up with, oh man, guys, I'm trying to keep up with everyone here. Thank you all. So let me, all right, so there's 7. Well, good. Mike, what were the, well, there's 3 that I didn't know about, so I'm going to be surprised.
Kingdoms.
I got that one.
Great Kingdom.
Got that one.
Furyondi.
Got that one.
Q-Land.
Got that one.
Nyron.
Don't have that one.
Hold of the Sea Princess.
Don't have that one.
And I use.
Great! So you have 3 that I did not do. Oh, this is awesome. Yep. And Anna's got some she did, and I have some that I did, and this is going to be a really, really cool discussion tonight. Right. So I'm really excited about it. Let me get out some more shout-outs here. Thank you, John, for the great raid. I know you were running a little behind tonight. Thank you, everyone, Will and Frank and all my other Greyhawk partners. A shout-out. We're going to start blitzing the Gary Con, you know how me, I don't hold back. I'm going to be putting it everywhere on the chat, on the Facebook, on Instagram, and putting out the schedule because sign-ups start next week for the game. So we really want to get in there. Thanks, Chuck, for that. That's awesome. We want to get in there and really just start making sure our games get filled up right away, and I think they will. Little glitch that I'm working out. That's all I'll say. That's made me a little PO'd, and I won't share. Don't need to share that with everyone, but I'll get it worked out because you know me. I can be a real dick when I need to be. So there you go. So so Mike, what led you to doing this in the first place?
Well, I'm always looking for columns to do something different. and my mind's always wandering around the map, right?
Right.
So then I think to myself, well, with some research, and mind you, the 5 reasons articles are researched. You know, I
Right.
could rarely do these off the top of my head. So I start pulling books off the shelf and everything. I'm just trying to find 5 locations in each of these areas that I think may be well known, maybe not well known. I think my intention was to draw interest to venture hooks and mysterious places that people perhaps haven't heard of, maybe in ongoing publications.
Cool.
Because World of Greyhawk's a lot about the wars. It's a lot about the classic modules and everything, and I just kind of figured if you can find at least 5 adventure locations in a country, you could base an entire campaign in a country. That's maybe kind of the idea. Like the city of Greyhawk, easy. You could find 12 adventure locations.
Right.
That's it. So I was trying to kind of replicate that for different nations.
It kind of ties in with what Rich has done on Cannon Fire with the adventure cards, right?
Yeah, and then when he started doing them and crowdsourcing it and scouring over all the different areas, I'm thinking, all right, that's it to a T. I got it down.
Yeah, and so Anna, why did you like this topic so much?
Because it's a chance to kind of veer off the beaten track and go around looking at various interesting areas. I see it a bit like a tourist thing. You can get DMs and players to be interested in different parts of the setting that normally don't get that much love, and
it does have kind of
it's a chance to look at the map, and I want to every chance I can. That's good.
It would make a nice little brochure, wouldn't it? 5 reasons to visit IUs, and then you open up the little gatefold thing.
And for me, I kind of approach this topic as, okay, 5 good reasons to have a campaign, to set a campaign in certain areas, so to speak. So my choices have been, I try to be varied and for different types of campaigns and for different reasons and in different environments. Those 3 things. So there's like a city adventure, that is one way out in the wilderness, that is one classic against the evil, and so on. So yeah.
Yeah, I tried to get the big ones out of the way, and then when I got to the smaller countries, I think my brain shut down, and that's why I didn't do more than 7 of them.
Yeah, I am 2, 3, 4,
7's
5.
good. I mean,
yeah, I've only picked 5 for today. I thought we never got.
I did.
I
did 7 myself. So yeah, and like I said, I always throw a little humor in there. Hey, Gridley, good to see you. Yeah, so let's start it off. Mike, pick one of yours that you've done, and then if you want to link it, as you go, I would link it in the chat, and then people you could follow Mike's right on his Greyhawkery blog. So,
right.
Let me hit up another. What's up, Gary? This is the prelude to the big Gary event next week.
Oh yeah. So
thanks.
One of the more recent ones I did was the Hold of the Sea Princes.
There we go.
I was actively running the campaigns there, so it was kind of fresh on my mind.
Go for it.
No, I was going to say, and this is all, of course, pre-wars information.
You mean the cool stuff, the cool no Scarlet Brotherhood BS?
I don't really think it changes much post-wars information-wise, but you might lose some of its charm if the Scarlet Brotherhood's running around.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. So let's hit us up with those 5 and a little reasoning behind each.
So in the link, the first one was probably the one that always kind of catches my eye, and that's Cyberit Island, which is special because I don't think that one's on the Darlene map.
I'll go to check.
I'm trying to
Give me
remember.
A few seconds.
You know, it was brought up in the Beyond the Crystal Cave adventure. UK.
Almost all the UKs are in that area. Sentinel and the Gauntlet.
Right. Yeah.
Dark Clouds Gather. They're all there.
No,
All right.
Cyber, it's not on.
Yeah, it's not on there. So it's a
Yep.
fourth large island off the coast of the Sea Princes. So somehow, you know, before we even got any development on the whole Sea Princes, the UK people just already added an island there.
Cool.
So I always thought that one was neat. Beyond the Crystal Cave is a adventure where you're going after a couple noble kids who are lost in this wizard's
Very cool.
home, and it's definitely worth checking out. Now, what you were talking about, the other UK modules, there's the Sentinel and the Gauntlet in the Duchy of Berghoff, number 2. The Duchy of Berghoff is also cool because it's like this secluded little land within a secluded little land. You know, it's got its own little lake, it's surrounded by mountains. It's whoever picked that out, I assume the author, Graham Morris, I believe, had a good eye, because that was a great place to set some adventures. The plot behind them adventures, I think there were 2 artifacts you're trying to recover, and each module, the Sentinel and the Gauntlet, it's a 2-part adventure. You know, they kind of have something in common. I can't remember, but
yep.
The Duchy of Berghoff's cool. That's one of them little places that the Scarlet Brotherhood should not touch because it ruins the charm.
Yeah, I'll say.
So the third place, and then the last 3 are cities, which there isn't adventures written for necessarily, but I left out the capital because sometimes I think capitals are the obvious choices. So I went with the second biggest city, Port Tolly. And I think I have a link in that section to a map that Gary did, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Gary he did a map of Monmurg. So click on that if you see it. But like I said, I'm not talking about Monmurg. We can let Gary have that someday. Port Tolly is the rivals of Monmurg, the prince of this who rules the Sea Princes. There's 2 princes, one in Monmurg, one in Port Tolly. So Prince Gian is the good prince, and Port Tolly is the bad prince, if you want to simplify it. And I like Port Tolly. It's not really developed. I haven't really developed it. I think it's a good launching point for stuff you want to go into the Emedio or to the Ulman Islands or even to the Isle of Dread. Port Tolly is a good place to start. All right. The 4th one is one that I did play extensively in, and that's Hokar. Hokar on the mainland is nestled in the hills, and I imagine this place is a mining town. You can do all sorts of stuff with that. I personally ran a little dungeon crawl in some mines in this town, and we had a recent discussion on the Underdark. This could be a good launching place for an Underdark campaign. It's not that far from the Hell Furnaces and the Jotuns and all that. So, Hokar. And then lastly, there's Westkeep. Again, we don't know much about Westkeep except that it's a place that's fought over a lot. So and it's on the edge of the Hool Marshes. So, put your characters in Westkeep if you want to do adventures in the Hool Marshes, or you want to have intrigues with the Kingdom of Q-Land. And it's let's see, I think somewhere in my article I mentioned something like Greyhawk Reborn. I think they did some stuff with this area, but I can't remember exactly. Anyhow, Westkeep is the 3rd of the large towns in the sequences. So
by the way,
that rounds out the 5.
I'm setting up the giveaway right now because I said that and then my brain and I didn't do it. So it's all right. They should start up now. Oh my. So Mike, what about? I'm surprised you didn't. One thing, like you didn't put like the wrecks around the Flotsam and Jetsam Isle from that legendary battle.
Yeah.
Well, that's at a very zoomed in scale.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Sometimes when I do maps of the sequences, it gets a little crowded with all the labels and things. So I need to do like a really big map someday where I can put some wrecks in there.
And I put them all over Woolly Bay, too. I understand that 100%. All right, one more time. 4 giveaways, Troller Games. $25 gift certificate. Okay, and then hard copy plus shipping of Verdant Rage, and then 2 PDFs of Verdant Rage. Okay? So, there you go. Be a fun one tonight. Even Gary's signing up for that. You got to love that. All right. I'm going to go next here. All right? And I'm going to go with my loved areas, of course. That's what I'm going to do. But we're going to start with Selene. How's that sound? Okay? I'll start with Selene. 5 reasons to visit Selene. Are you ready for this? Now, I tried to stay away from my stuff. All right? But
should be good.
But here, so, number 1, gray elves / fairies. Cool, different types of elves, right? Not the high elves. I know there's a little bit of argument there, but the gray elves of Selene are very unique and interesting. And, you know, they got the blonde hair, the purple eyes, or the amber eyes. It's really, I think it's a cool thing that differentiates Selene. You know, Yolande is a gray elf. The capital of Enstad, and I want to thank, I'm going to throw out some stuff. I have a couple like things here and there. Let me, so Aaron Froke does wonderful maps, and you're seeing it scrolling. Of course, here it is. So here's his Enstad map, okay? And that is from our friend Aaron Froke, and I just love that. His
style is
his style's awesome. So the capital of Enstad, which is really not developed that much that someone could, but it is the birthplace of, and Anna loves this, my Selene Ruby Red, right? One of the greatest drinks in all of Greyhawk. So there you go, and that is Enstad. 2. All right, and another one that goes in my campaign, visiting the noble and lesser estates and the beauty of those estates throughout, and they're all spread throughout northern, southern, and central Selene, and each one has a little bit of difference. On Blue Box's show, we went to the Gestrul estate, and they actually have they have an aqueduct system running in that gives water to their fountains there. So I'm thinking that that's another place you'd love to see. The border with the Sus. A wonderful place to visit and get a lot of action. So that is always active and patrolled. So and nasties coming through, humanoids, bandits, plagues, monsters, whatever you think of. And lastly, but not leastly, Mike, I haven't talked to Anna about this yet, but Mike hit a home run in chat, in Greyhawk chat. Corawood is in Selene, right? So the town of Corawood, which Mike proved in the discussion, was in Selene once and for all.
I had to do a deep dive, Anna.
Okay, that's awesome.
He found multiple references to a person. Yes, two's multiple coming from Selene and Corawood to go.
One in.
Yes, exactly, Gary. Scooter County, Ulick. So
that's awesome.
That is my 5th. So we're gonna move that over on the other side of the river at some point. Yep. So
and the city is on the Selene side of the river.
Pre-Living Greyhawk Gazetteer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so Mike found it, and
that is awesome.
Yes, it was.
I'm going to put a map note here.
Yep.
Right away.
Yay!
So we need to do that. Yep.
Which means I got to redo all my maps in that area. Re-snip them all.
We have to redo the map. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yes, that would be my 5th and final reason to visit Selene. The Coward is in Selene. So and you pronounce it Corwood, Coward, whatever. So that are my 5 for Selene. So as Anna's doing something on a computer.
Oh, now I've just typed in.
You're
my
up.
map. Yep. Okay, I'm up.
Pick a place.
Yeah. So I tried to pick places for different reasons in adventuring, and the first one I picked is a place I often thought about having campaigns that is about chasing. You can have like a long overland chase. Either the party is being chased and have to escape something, or they are chasing something. And this is a place because the problem with chases is that you want the party to be kind of more or less forced to go a certain way. They can't just split up in whatever direction, and you want to have a little bit of control, so to speak. And one of the areas that I've had a great pleasure at mapping and a lot of fun mapping that is kind of interesting that hardly ever spoken about is the Worm's Tail Pass that goes between Ket and Perilland. And it's one of these across the Yacht Hills. So it's a high pass, kind of difficult terrain and a whole bunch of stuff. And if I wanted to have an interesting obstacle course for a party over a campaign of maybe 5 to 10 sessions or something like that, I would like to have a location like that. You can have lots of interesting physical barriers. You can have climate, it gets cold, all this stuff that you need to prepare for and you need to overcome, and the party can almost succumb to it. So that's one of the challenges. And also to find the best way, because you can actually build like parallel ways to get there, but some of them are more difficult for some reason and some of them are more difficult for other reasons. You can have waterfalls, you can have glaciers, you can have ice falls, you can have all sorts of weird things that comes. And then you have the monsters on top of it that could be up there. And remember, this is locations that are way up in the mountains. You can have all sorts of interesting cold related creatures, mountainous creatures and stuff. And there is another way you can spin an area like Worm's Tail. You have 3 sides. You have the Perilland side, you have the Ket side, but there's also the Blackhammer Vale Dwarven clan.
Okay.
That the Black Hammers that are in mid. So you can, if you want to spin a dwarving campaign, for some reason the dwarfs might not be that in tune with, let's say the Ketites are there to say we want to seal off the pass, and you have to get through, or you have to get to the dwarves. So you're a dwarven party and you need to get out to the rest of the world, and it's kind of blocked off, and you have to use. So there are numerous ways you can do it, but it will be like an outdoor dungeon, so to speak, that are a mile wide or something like that, and or maybe even narrow. It could be just a few hundred yards at the bottom or a few hundred feet, and they can be one road that is on the mountainside, or you can make all sorts of cool things, and you can make it kind of a dungeon-esque obstacle course, but on the outside. So that's my first kind of location that you can. That I think it's kind of interesting to that you can develop. You can have a lot of different reasons to go there, but those are some of my favorite, my kind of idea to make it. And the cities you have it basically goes from, you can either start it in Schwarzenbrunn up in Perilland and go all the way to Molvar if you want to make the whole journey from lowland to basically lowland. You can even go from Lupolla to Schwarzenbrunn, but then it's a major campaign. Or you can just take the really mountainous bit that is from Crestable in the north to Molvar in the south. That's probably about 50 miles of up in the mountains, so to speak. So that's my first suggestion for an area to kind of go and base some adventures and stuff in.
Awesome. Very cool. Look at that. We went round once. Now, look, we're going to go around like twice and then maybe throw out some ideas from the audience, and maybe there's some we didn't even write down, and we'll wing it with those. But Mike's got some great ones. So what do you got up next, Mike?
Well, one that I enjoyed a lot is 5 Reasons to Visit Friandi.
Yes.
Ooh, good. Yep.
So this is one of these places I'm talking about that's like ravaged with war in the later books. And I always try to imagine, well, there's got to be more to it than just what's going on the front lines, right? Well, one of my 5 is actually the front lines. It's called the Flare Line.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
And there's also a raising line and swarming ground. It's just this whole big messy battlefield, long battlefield thing. And I, with undead and humanoids and magic and all these little forts and things, you could just play characters around, east and west along this battle line, just doing little missions and things. It's kind of neat. And that actually now at one end of this battle line is the first of my 5, and it's Castle Elanestra.
Sharnalem. I love her. Love the character, Mike. Great pick.
Yeah. This was a place that I've never used before. I had to kind of look a little into it. It has some, it's Knights of the Heart. It's named for Princess Salona. This is a place where you can launch more of these missions, which I speak, like into the Vesby, or up the coast of the Wyatt Lake. It's a really interesting place. It's not so much it's not a dangerous place, but it's a good base of operations. Is what I'm trying to say.
It's known for, I know something here. She has Tiergs, which are those good aligned wolves there, which is really cool too. So I really like. It also states. I'm sorry, Mike, to interrupt, but it also states in Eye is the Evil that the theory is that not Crander, Zenvaline is going to launch a major assault right at Castle Elanestra, and that's the theory. That's where they're going to overwhelm. Now, whether you do that in your campaign or not is something you can do. But yeah, so it's pretty neat. Yep. Good.
Another of my 5 in reasons to go to Foriani is Chendel. In the Greyhawk Wars, Chendel is kind of busted up and in bad shape, and I know there's various people have their opinions of this city or whatever, but it's supposed to be this really beautiful Venice-like work of art city, and I think that's not so much a good reason to visit for adventuring so much as, like Anna was saying, it's a touristy place, in my opinion. It's a good stop-off point before hey, let's go to Chendel, and then beyond Chendel, you're roughing it.
Yeah, but it can also be a center for diplomacy if you want to have these kind of parties where people get murdered and new politics is being made and you can have stuff like that. Then Chendel will be a perfect, but meaning the King Belvor is old. And he might die, and who's going to be the next king, and backstabbing and all sorts of interesting deals and machinations going on. Then Chendel and its parks and parties and stuff like that could be great.
Yes, Chendel is in Fata Vistas.
Yeah.
So that's your original source to go by.
Yep.
Cool. So Chendel is least of the Foriani cities. I think it's probably the most interesting one.
Yep.
Then the other 2 places are actual adventure spots. One smack dab in the middle of Foriani is Bronze Blood Haunt.
Yeah.
Which really surprised me when I started reading more into it. It's one of these places that I had overlooked. And it's got a whole horror movie twist to it. It is as evil as it sounds. Not going to too much detail. Think of it as this little Dracula Transylvania castle right smack dab in the middle of a good aligned nation. How's this place exist? And it's got this weird effect to it where people just stay away from it. I guess that's how it has existed all this time. But check out the article for more on that. The last place is Claw Gorge, which is a quarry. And it's interesting because Friandi is like this plain, It's got rivers and lakes, and it's just an empty plain, a couple tiny little forests. There's not much going on there. So someone, I think Carl Sargent, plops Claw Gorge in there. And it's just a random place that characters could come across that's you can search around in this. I think it's like a mine or something, and just if you don't want to do your day-to-day wars and things, it's right there in the middle of Friandi.
So Gary beat me to it. I was going to add an addendum to Friandi that there are no vampire thrommels anywhere in Friandi, and that's a reason to go there. Gary, you beat me to it. And
notice that I didn't even use the word thrommel.
Yes.
Stay away from that.
Yes. But that's an awesome one.
But you see, Thrommel's not a reason to visit Friandi because he's been kidnapped and he's missing.
Right. In the 569, 570 time, 573
you only
time frame.
Visit Friandi if you're going to return Thrommel to the family, like you rescued him.
Deep breaths. Okay. My turn up. So do I go city or location? I'm going to go city.
Right.
What's up now? Hardby. I'm going to go Hardby. Why would you ever want to visit this place? City. And notice I have it turned sideways, this map, because that's the way it should look. All right, so that's the city of Hardby. And I'm going to give you 5 reasons. Number 1, and that is they got a really neat organization, and that you visit, but you can only do it if you're a female, and that is visiting the Throne of Wood, which is the all-womanhood organization that you can join here, and it is supposed to be, furthering that course of good or whatever, maybe neutrality. It's not evil, and it's a really neat thing. A lot of the player characters in my campaign have joined I know, Gary, have joined the Throne of Wood. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is if you are interested in piracy and you want to acquire a letter of marque to raid pirates and do it legally, this is the place to go. So it's a great place to have a sea-based campaign, and that would be a wonderful reason to visit if you like doing ship combat. And I think we talked about this a little bit last week on the Slavers, but that's a nice reason to visit. Number 3. They have the most incredible on the privateer. Yes, privateering pirates. Yes. You want to get that letter of marque so you can do that. They have the most amazing docks, and they have the most amazing crane system on the docks, according to the writings. So it would be a wonder to see those in Hardby, and that would be the actual docks itself. Number 4 is a little darker, but if you really want to get your kicks off, you can go to see the wonderful court system at work with Judge Alita Norbalos running things and causing trouble for everyone because of her machinations with the slavers and with all sorts of other baddies. So that is number 4. And number 5 is a little bit of comedy for me, and this is campaign based. And that is, there's a bar on the very tip of the docks in Hardby called, and my players are going to kick out of this, the Southern Point. And if you want to go to the wonderful bar where you saw the legendary Michael Baton assassinated and beheaded, that's the place for you to go see. There you go. Those are the 5 reasons to visit Hardby. Yes. That would be a real cool place to visit. Especially my players all loved it because they can't stand that character. So those are 5 reasons to visit the city of Hardby. Whether you have it under Greyhawk's dominance or not in your campaign, that's subject to however you're playing. So there you go. 5 reasons for Hardby. Anna, what are you going to do next? He's not really
city, so it's my turn to do a city as well. I try to have different ones, and I want to kind of put a word in for the newest addition to the Greyhawk city adventuring, so to speak. Something that was not mentioned or invented in there by Gary or the early parts, but adding
Altamira. Oh.
not fan-based, but actually that was something that Paizo added during Modern J. Bullman and stuff. So added, and that's the city of Sasserine.
Great.
And
Nice.
I think it's a very interesting area for many different reasons. First of all, it's off the beaten track, but it's still big enough for real urban adventure, so to speak. It's a real big city with the city wall and block quarters and guilds and politics and city locations galore, so to speak. So it's a city big enough to be a real big city.
And got it somewhere on the wall, but you got, if you can find it, get the player's guide to Savage Tide.
Yes.
It has a
exactly.
big old map of
that. The Savage Tide
campaign they're great maps.
They give a ton of detail for Sasserine. So you can run Savage Tide, but I want to... Savage Tide kind of leaves Sasserine fairly quickly, way too quickly, and goes on a big journey. And that's another type of campaign. I want to push for developing adventures in the Sasserine area itself, because you have the city adventures and you have sea-based adventures outside next door. And it's also an interesting environment. You have the hell furnaces outside next door. You have a huge mountain range with volcanoes, and you can have fire-based creatures and stuff like that. So you have, there's few areas that offers more when it comes to geographical variety of adventures. You have jungles, ocean, mountains, volcanoes, and you have everything from almost polar up on you can almost have cold encounters, you can have fire encounters, you can have everything up in the mountains, and you can have down to jungles and oozing jungles and sturges and marshlands and all sorts of stuff just next door, so to speak. So Sasserine can be a base for adventures for months, years probably. And then you have a lot of developed content we have from the Savage Tide campaign and its accompanying Dragon and Dungeon articles, that the player's guide to it. There's like companion articles and Dragon magazine and stuff. So there's tons of developed. And there's a whole other book, Cauldron. That's another city that is a
which
few
is on this
hours,
map too.
a couple of days away, like 2 days or like a day or two of tracking. You have another big book with another city with equal amount of opportunities. So it's kind of it's a bit like Divers and Greyhawk. You have two big cities that can urban adventures in an area full of wilderness and all sorts of cool things. You have a big dragon, Hookface is there so you can use him as one of the major foils and villains. So there's ample of opportunity in that area. So that one is definitely something that should be used way more than just to run a Savage Tide campaign. And let's see what we have more. So that was my suggestion for a city-based campaign, is that a city that could be tropical and way more than a regular city, so to speak.
Very cool. So we had a question, and Nagoya just said, we'd like to see more info on Iron Gate. Was that Dragon 361? Gary, which article is that? Is your Iron Gate in? I forget. But and I had it. If I search for it, I probably could pop it up.
There's easily 5 things in that article.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a great article. So you're set for that too. But a good one, Anna. That was a really good one. I would have picked that myself, but I'm glad to hear that you did. 351. Yeah. So okay, that
good.
Yeah, on Iron Gate. So to get a ton of information, it's a great Dragon 351. It's in. So
that's another great choice for a city adventure.
Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All righty. So we're going to
is it Dungeon or is it Dragon?
It's Dragon.
I thought it was Dragon.
It's Dragon, definitely.
Yeah.
So we're going next back to Mike. 5 reasons to visit. Where are we going, Mike?
You're already back around to me. I thought these would drag on. Okay. So in the same vein that I did for Yandi, then I swung over and I did Nyrond. Because here you have another just vast open plain. I'm thinking there's no adventures set in Nyrond. No official adventures that I can think of. But I know that the Marklands in second edition added a lot of detail on it. So I thought, well, okay, I can definitely, yeah, exactly, snooze So if I can't find 5 places in Niron, then no one can, right? So the first place of interest is Relmord, of course, because it's the biggest city there. It's the home of Pluffet Smedger the Elder.
Oh, it's home of Gary. It's your home.
Who's in our prisons.
Here's Niron North.
You know, even though he apparently doesn't claim Niron. You got a lot of noble intrigue. I think I mentioned in the article about, you know, if you want to emulate a Game of Thrones campaign, you couldn't do worse than starting at Niron. Probably Great Kingdom would be better, but Niron is still a little bit on edge. You know, could fall apart at the seams if you have pull the right strings. So yeah, Relmord it's just like out in the middle of nowhere. It's so far away from everything, you know, that you'd be hard pressed to come up with anything better just to place in there. Oh, you know what? It's in Fata Vistas.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is an adventure set in it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That might be the only one I can think of set in Niron.
You can also have things like tournaments and stuff like that too, because it's high politics would work there just like it would in Foriundi. Might be different politics, but all the machinations of stuff like that could really work, like in Game of Thrones campaigns. So yeah.
Right. So then when you now venture out from this central starting point, second place is Starhaunt. So near the Celadon Forest is this area ruled by Baron Basterine, and you know, here you go, the oppressed woodland people, and you know, the evil noble, you know. So Niron ain't all good what it's cracked up to be suddenly, and now you got this place called Starhaunt in the area, and it's now I'm having to read because I don't really remember much about the place. It's a creepy little area within the forest that you would not expect to be there. You would expect Niron to be a fairly safe country, but in the middle of it is this really nasty area, Starhaunt. We'll just have to check more on that. I think that's in From the Ashes.
I think so too.
I believe it is too. Yeah. Or is it in Is it in the Marklands?
That might be.
I think it's Marklands.
Yeah, most of.
I think it's in the Marklands. Yeah.
Yeah, Marklands covered that area more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't trust Niron. So to the east of Relmord, on the borders of Almor, either destroyed Almor or present-day Almor, is Cuirass Tower. Cuirass Tower. A squat tower, black stone. The stone is supposedly like not found anywhere else. So it's one of these mysterious constructions. And it's owned by this absent-minded wizard named Cuirass, and he's a water elementalist. Doesn't seem to have any other business with stuff going on. And he's, I guess, supposed to be like a benefactor for all the stuff that's going on. So if you have the Greyhawk Wars going on, or Duke Zephyrin nearby, you know, this is someone that I guess the players can fall back on, kind of Tolkien-ish, you know, mystery wizard.
Very cool.
So then you got Claw Point. So I'm going in different directions. So south on the coast of Niron is all these little towns and ports. And there's one peninsula called Claw Point. And it's a place for smugglers and can't remember the source, probably Marklands yet again. It talks about a network of catacombs from the early Iridian migrations, which I found really interesting because that's, you know, we know all about the migrations and everything, but
Early.
This is like a place that's probably like not well known, hasn't been played out, so it's a good, maybe low key place to do some dungeon crawling. It's not like Mar Castle or Castle Greyhawk. You could. But the trick here is, I think you have to access it from the sea.
Oh.
So none of this straight down stuff. I think it's a sea entrance. If I remember right. Anyhow, then lastly, north of Realmord is Crystal Springs at the headwaters of
yeah, a river coming out of nowhere. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, Crystal Springs, named after this quartz formations, and again, it's like this is like a place of mystery, strange caves, some kind of weird monsters and magic. It's probably more to that, but again, it's a little place out in the middle of this featureless Niron that you can actually plop something if you want to, for some reason, run a Niron campaign.
And Von Molko says he's got a ton of Niron stuff. That's his place. So a lot of people.
Nice.
Yep. A lot of people like it.
Blood Crystal, Onyx Gate.
Very, very cool. Awesome.
The Rent.
All right. Where do I go next here?
Yeah.
Let's. We're going to throw a Mike's hand-drawn map up, which you just saw. And we're going to cover one of the areas on this really cool hand-drawn map, and that is we're going to do the Principality of Ulick next. How's that sound?
All right.
All right. So.
That map took me like 30 minutes to draw.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yes. So, yes, I was perusing his blog for the topic idea, and I just hit a random year, and I was like, oh, this is a good idea. So, never heard of it. All right, so here's 5 reasons. One of them is of course, is my own, but, it always has to be that way. So, number 1, to get hill dwarves instead of mountain dwarves here. Now, is there a difference? There is in my game. So, there you go. The hill dwarves run the Principality of Ulick. So, whether there's, rivalry there or not, I have it that there is. So, it's I believe it's the only kingdom in all of Greyhawk that is run by dwarves, outside of hills and mountain realms, but the one that's official is the Principality of Ulick. Number 2, the capital of Gryrax. I don't know much about it. I don't think anyone's ever talked about it, really. Has anyone that you know of?
No, it's one of these kind of forgotten cities, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yes, but I'll tell you.
Used it in relation to wars.
Yes, but I'll tell you this: Principality of Ulick's got one hell of a navy, which is surprising.
Yeah.
They got warships, so I'd love to visit there to check those out.
Yeah.
And we have this argument all the time, but I think that there's as many dwarven sailors as there are human sailors. And I think that they have an affinity that people do not know about for sailing. That's my game, but I could be wrong. It's all humans, but I kind of like that idea. So, dwarf engineering, I agree, Tim. Boom. Okay, so that's 2. Number 3. I'm going to throw up another map here, unless I don't have it here, and I may not have. I got to go to 903. So Anna made a change, and let me close out Mike's real quick here. Anna made a quick change here, and if you notice where Ritter's March and Oakenburg and Brenfluss is in the province of Prinsfield, Anna expanded that area. So
it was to accommodate the Patriot of Ulick.
Yes.
The map from the Patriot of Ulick was not compatible with my map, so I actually changed it, and I got some great help. And now I forgot who helped me. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I can probably find that somewhere. But the gist of it was that I changed it so it would match the Patriot of Ulick much better. Yeah.
And it's great because the adventure I'm running tomorrow night is set right here to start. And I really love the changes. And I love, moving it, those Soul Temple ruins out further, giving it a little more room, moving the Jewel River. So I kind of like this new setup here. So I'm
Yeah.
going to say, hey, let's visit the province of Princefield because there's cool stuff going on. Patriot of Ulick is an okay adventure. It's a battle system adventure, but you don't have to run it in battle system. And I think you could develop it a little bit more if you're in that if you're in that wars time frame. But I just thought that was a cool new change after all these years, as map still is. It's living and breathing. So I have two others. One is, of course, the Jewel River border. When I was a kid, I was like, "There's nothing on the Jewel River here on the border. Wouldn't the humanoids just come over and mass in the Pomarge?" Well, it turns out that's what they did in Living Greyhawk, but not in my campaign. Don't need to elaborate any more about that, but the Jewel River border itself is cool. And then lastly, we're going to say what happened, and it's on this map down here near the N in Princefield. The number one place you want to visit in the Principality of Ulick is, of course, this little podunk of a town which is no longer podunk, and that is the town of Glipdell. Right, Anna? Which is on the map now. Here are pictures of Glipdell in all its glory. So there you go. You want to visit Glipdell, and you want to see, wow, how did this place turn around? Well, watch the fundraiser if you really want to know. But yeah, Glipdell has always been there for me in the Principality of Ulick, and it is, used to be a real place that it was just down in its luck, but no more. So there you go. Those are my 5 for visiting the Principality of Ulick. So, yes, absolutely. So Anna, we're back up to you.
Okay, so yeah, so the first one was kind of go in the wilderness and do some sort of overland trekking, and the second one was a city adventure. So I think about what's a third type of adventure, and I thought, what about the classic? Meaning you have an evil master villain that lives in a castle, and you can go there and you can beat the crap out of him, or you can go there and investigate, or you can flee from it, or something. So where can you have that kind of a classic master villain that is evil to the core, and you can not too far off. It should be like you can venture there quickly and then have the adventure and then out again or something. So a classic adventure like that, and one that I think will fit the bill that normally gets ignored. That's the Dread Lord himself, Lord Defar. He's one of a Death Knight, and he's carved out a niche between the North Kingdom or the North Province of Great Kingdom and Bone March. So a little part of Bone March he basically conquered and say, I'm going to stay here. And and Gary knows way more about him as a lord, but he's one of the Death Knight. Cool. And he is evil to the core, and he's capable like beyond most. So he can be a challenge to a party of almost any level if you want him to be. And he can also have a lot of lieutenants and other undeads and other nasty things in his castle, and you can make it into, so he's not the vampire. It's kind of it's a version of Dracula, but with a big axe, and he goes out and he slash people and cool. And so on. So you can have tons of fighting and stuff like that. So you can kind of play with it. But if you want a neat area with a castle and a classic castle with a master villain, I can really recommend Depar Castle in the central of Bone March. And you can get there from the civilization. If you call the North Province or the North Kingdom civilized, I can question that at times, but at least you can have a home base not too far from it. You have the Highlander castles, and you have a village called Stolvik that is only like a day away or less than a day away, and you have the large town of Stringen in North Kingdom is only like a day away. So you have civilization where you can have a base of operation. You can be sent there to deal with them and stuff. So it's one of these kind of, I would say, really interesting stuff for especially high level adventuring, because he's really, really high level. So you can really do it. You don't have to go to the end of the world to do it or anything like that. And it can also be part of a bigger campaign. You can have the Dread Lord or Defar as a master villain at the end of the campaign. So you can kind of go there and try to beat the crap out of him at the end of a campaign, or you can you can have him. You can even go there first and then be around and see him, and then go around him in an arc and then come back again. But the classic master villain in a castle kind of scenario, I think it's an area that could work really well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You hit that home run there with Gary. That's good.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yep. Very, very cool. All right. So we're doing pretty well here. That's through 9. Moving right along. I mean, we're not even an hour in, so I'm like, wow, we're cranking this out here. Let's keep it rolling. Mike, which one you want to hit next of yours?
Well, let's try to do something different. I'm going to try to do one that's not one of my articles.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, looking at the map on the wall over here that you can't see is the Scarlet Brotherhood.
Oof. Yes.
Now, our main source for that is, of course, the Scarlet Brotherhood. Sean Reynolds. That's where all the detail comes in. But even without that, I think without that book, you could probably draw some pretty good reasons to go there. The Nation of Shar. Wink. Yeah, you know it, Gripply. So, Fate of Istis has the capital city of the Brotherhood, Hisul Ilshar. Now, I'm not a big proponent of this Fate of Istis module. The content there varies quality. I like the idea of the Hisul Ilshar, the hidden city on the plateau. Cool. If that's all you had to go on, that would be plenty good reason to, visit there or try to find it. I've done this a few times over the different editions as a destination.
Cool.
Second, on your way to the plateau is the town of Crow Turlep. Or you could go Ekul, doesn't matter. I prefer Crow Turlep. Average, unassuming port, but you know that while they might do the trade for the kingdom of Shar, like Gribbly says, that they're actually a lot of Scarlet Brotherhood agents in disguise. This is a place where, like in the movies, you're in the bar and you act up, and then everyone in the bar draws a weapon on you. Because everyone here works for the Scarlet Brotherhood, if you think about it. But it's a front for the Brotherhood, and that's what I always like about that town.
Okay.
At least that's my take on it, without it looking at the Scarlet Brotherhood module. And he's back. Third is the Isle of the big isle off the tip of the peninsula, Lof Bosak. In the Scarlet Brotherhood, I think it's mentioned that's where the Brotherhood experiments on monsters and things. It's kind of like a secret little island that they run. I love the idea of players washing up on this island and just fighting random monsters, and then there's also Scarlet Brotherhood agents there. You could literally do anything you want with that island. It's a huge island comparatively. So, but I think the name comes from Sean Reynolds' book. So I like that one. Let's see, 4, I would probably go with, there's a jungle. There's a jungle on that peninsula that I don't know anything about, right? It's just, it is claimed by the Brotherhood, but there could literally be anything in there. And it's deep in the middle of the peninsula. There's no settlements nearby it. This thing could probably be primeval jungle. That's, could have literally anything in it. I don't even know if it's named. Is it named on your map, Anna?
Which one?
Okay, the jungle on the Tilvanat Peninsula.
Oh yeah, the
Let me take my
Tarlan
headset off.
Forest is on the western part of it, so that's called the
Yes.
Tarlan Forest. Yeah.
Tarlan Forest. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I think it would be an excellent place to drop something in.
And it will be cool because I would see the lower part will be like jungle, and then it will go from jungle to be more temperate forest to be like pines and spruces and stuff.
See, I wasn't know that was possible.
Yeah, meaning up when you go up the slope, the type of forest will change. So you will go from temperate, almost temperate to on the cold bits, and the top bits to jungle at the bottom, so to speak. So you can have different monsters from depending on elevation you have, like different critters.
And then I guess lastly, I would have to say the Spine Ridge is a really interesting place. It's, again, depending on which direction you're coming. If you're like, you could go to the Tomb of Horrors, or if you're coming from the Tomb of Horrors, then you're crossing the Spine Ridge and you're thinking, oh, thank goodness I'm out of the vast swamp. Maybe there's civilization here, and then you run into the Scarlet Brotherhood. So, depending on which direction you're headed, the Spine Ridge could be quite interesting. Plus, it's not settled. You place whatever you want there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good one. Good one outside the box there for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the one right now that Mike Disney asked about, and that is we're going to the Free City Greyhawk. Okay. Now these are in the box set. These held up pretty well. I have a sealed box set I'm never opening, still in shrink, and I have my beat up copy. So, and these are the books from it. Once again, you can argue with me. I still think it's the #1 publication ever made by them, ever. Just because I love it so much. I know, and we said this before, I know the maps are lacking a little bit, and Malden fixed them fine, but I just love it because of the detail.
Ideally, you could take City Greyhawk box set and the Waterdeep stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And smash it together. That would be the perfect city.
Yeah.
Source book.
Yeah. How big is the City Greyhawk? It's not, I mean, for a fantasy setting, I don't know. What is it? 2 miles long by a half mile wide or something?
It depends on if you go by the TSR numbers. It's not that much. It's like 75,000 people and it's about a mile or two across. But if you take Gary's, when he expanded on in the City of Hawks in his books after he left TSR, then it's a city that is several more, like 5 miles across, and probably have a couple of 100,000 people.
Yeah,
it's way bigger and way more detailed. So my dream scenario will be to take all the stuff from the box set and all the stuff from Gary's later works on New Infinities and put that into his map, that in his model of the city from those books. I have all the locations from the earlier works and from the box set and from Gary's later works. That I think will be a fantastic fantasy city because they don't contradict each other, I think, at all, more than the layout of the city.
Whoops, I just moved the whole screen. All right, so this is, I believe this is Malden's update, this map here.
Yep, that's his map.
That's Malden's update map. All right, so 5 reasons. I picked some out of the box stuff here. #1, you got 2 great places of entertainment that are rivalries, and that is the Royal Opera House and the Grand Theater. We want to check them both out, which is really cool. Which is really a neat thing.
Theater fight.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say theater fight.
Theater fight, and Australia Chamforel's mixed right in the middle of it, which is neat. So that's #1. #2, Lord Henway's Menagerie, almost like a mini zoo, and they always seem to be getting out the monsters and stuff. I know. And they get away, like in Exhibition Rooms at Greyhawk. You got to find the Rumvarax, if I recall correctly, or the So that is a neat place to go. And
I always used to tell my players, you can't have monsters in the city. You can't. You can't. But if you capture a young, you can sell it to Lord Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's #2. #3. I love this spot because we're going to have this in 3D print, and you see the ad running all the time from Infinite Dimensions, the Free City Arena. And there's always some cool thing. Isn't that underground? They have the Manticore, right? Is underground, right, Mike? And you have a lot of different combats going on. And you have all different sorts of neat things going on at the Free City Arena. And once again, Expeditions ties that in too. I know that the head of that in Age of Worms, the best, he goes crazy and starts working for the bad guy. All sorts of things you can have.
Yeah, right. The Free City, I think, in the box set timeline is not in, doesn't get as used as much as it does in the later Paizo stuff. That if you really want the underground fight action, you got to go elsewhere.
Yeah. So, all cool. 4. A place without a door. The University of Magical Arts. There's no entrance. Gonna have to dimension door in to get inside, or have someone dimension door teleport you in. So I think that that's kind of cool. And there's a lot of things that are shaped like pyramids in Greyhawk City, and that's one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you
I
know,
remember with like 2 of them at least that were.
yes,
Yeah.
Jalarzi's and there's a couple, and Morning Cannons too, right? Morning Cannons.
No,
Morning Cannons is at the top of that.
don't live there. It's the University of Magical Arts.
So
and the Guild of Wizardry are the 2 pyramids. At the top of, I think it's the Guild of Wizardry, there's a secret room that belongs to Zagig that I think Mordenkainen.
Oh yeah, and that's in Expeditions. That's the one in Expeditions.
But Jalarzi
lives.
Jalarzi lives in one of the manors.
Yeah, she has her own. Yep.
Yep.
And also, let's see. Last but not least, I have to go on my soft, sappy side. The Bridge of Entwined Hearts, which is it's just right in the middle of the Hobbit hole area that they have there, and there's a bridge where if you're lovers, you can go on to it, and that's where people get proposed to, and all of it's written right in these books, and so. I mean, I could go all day long on different areas of Greyhawk, and I picked some more eclectic ones.
That area, the Hobbit area, is Burrow Heights.
Burrow Heights.
Oh, yes, I love that place. Yep. I've had so many players just take up residence there. It's
the bar owned by the Dwarven Shipbuilder is the oh gosh, it's in the Thieves' Quarter. It's in the shoot, I will look it up as we go to Anna because
I'm just gonna guess Low Seas Tavern.
Low Seas, but there's another Dwarven one there. There's a Gold Digger.
Yeah.
Gold Digger. There's another one.
Maybe
Low Seas.
Silver Dragon. Maybe.
No, I know my
dwarves in the city.
Yeah, there's a lot of dwarves in the city. So a lot of really great things that are in this book, and you can spend a lifetime adventuring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, within this.
The city of Greyhawk is another perfect place to actually make. If you're creative and want to do a handout for your players, give them actual brochures.
Yep.
Like visit the foreign quarter.
Yep.
Bang 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 bang.
Yep.
Yes.
I might do that myself.
It's a great place.
It's a great idea.
Great place. And you don't have to use the whole thing. You don't even have to go into the High Quarter, the Garden Quarter, or Clerksburg, or Artisan Quarter. You could just use the slums if you want to. Do they have gladiator fights in Greyhawk City? The answer is yes. But I don't think they're slaves. It's not a slave. They're mercs.
They're like professionals.
Professionals.
Yeah.
There's the pit.
Yeah.
Which is underground fighting, is what I would call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Borderline professional wrestling quality.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's lethal. Maybe against monsters it is. Then there's the Free City, which, depending on what edition you're using, it's used more for what I would call collegiate activities, those kind of events. In the past, it might have been full-on Gladiator. Of course, then later in the Paizo Age of Worms campaign, they bring back the Gladiator stuff. and it's pretty neat. But I wouldn't say, like Jay said, it's not slave based. It's like adventurers put together a little team and they duke it out.
Yeah, and trust me, when we have that arena, we're going to have adventures there. So it's not that far off. Infinite Dimensions Kickstarter soon, and that is a priority to print. And I want that. We want that arena because we're going to use it, and it's going to be in Greyhawk, and we're going to have a lot of fun stuff coming out of it. So it is not far away. So I'm excited about it. We got Anna up next.
Okay, so yeah, I've been to up in the wilderness and the mountains and the city, and we attacked had a evil master villain in the castle, the classic. So I was thinking, I love elves, and forest adventures is another one that I think is really well suited for our role playing game or fantasy role play. And I would like to. Celine is my favorite spot, but the more I've kind of dug into, because I definitely want to run an elven campaign in the future, so I'm already starting to flesh out ideas and think about locations and stuff for a future elven campaign. And I want to kind of promote another elven area that I kind of think in some ways can even beat the Celine in what you can develop it into, and you can kind of make it really, really cool. And Celine is kind of the official home, and I try to boost it up in my campaign too. And it's cool, but I must say that the heartlands of Vesvi is really a really cool location.
It is.
And for some of the same reasons as Celine, but in a way it could be even bigger, because first of all, you have ample space. You have
it's
probably
bigger
10,000.
It's big as countries.
Yeah, meaning it's 10,000 square miles easy. It's probably even bigger than that. Meaning you have space for as many green dragons as you want to throw at it, so to speak, or whatever. Meaning there's enough space that you can put anything in there and say it's 100 miles away, and it take a week to get there. So it's large, meaning it's roomy enough to put any kind of forest monster you can dream of, and put a whole tribe of them, or whatever. So that is possible. And the other interesting thing that there's a bunch of them that are interesting. You have a conglomerate of demi-humans, meaning you have gnomes up there too, in the hills, in the Klatsburg. You have gnomes up there too, so they are just like in Celine area, but so you have the gnomes up there. And Ius is making an incursion, meaning you have tons of humanoids coming in the forest. This is a perfect reason to you can stage forest battles, and you have the orcs and stuff up there. Beastmen are there, wood elves are there, all kinds of elves are there. So you have an area where you can have from elven iconic exactly, you can have skirmishes inside the forest. You can develop elven locations that are out of this world. Flameflower and the Timeless Tree and Talaska and a whole bunch of stuff that are Delvin Brass and so on. So Serpent Mound, meaning you have, without even inventing any of your own, there's a whole bunch of them. The problem is that it's not that detailed. There's only like six sentences for each of these
I want
locations.
something more grandiose, because the Vespi should be this ancient.
Yeah, but you can take some of these areas and make Talaska into an old elven city that has been there for millennia, so to speak. I've developed Kershani as a kind of an elven, one of these old elven cities that has been there since forever, and it's still there. The only original elven city in the Flannies that is still there, so to speak, that have been there forever, and develop it from there. So I think it's an interesting location for many of these regions. And you have mountains, you have their next door, so to speak. You have all the forest from almost subarctic kind of thing up in the north to these. You can have like giant like sequoia like trees and stuff like that in it. So just the environment itself, and then all the plethora of awesome creatures and kind of terrifying creatures that live there. It's a perfect spot if you want to hide a couple of thousand Ents somewhere. I think Vesvi is big enough that you can actually have an Ent Valley or a little Ent Kingdom or something like that hidden away somewhere.
Are there
And
Fey-dominated areas in the Vespi? Yes, the land of the timeless tree. And if you can see it on this,
yeah,
it's all right. So if you go, I'm going to open
yeah,
this up real big and cover my face. See
yeah,
it next to Vespi Forest? It says timeless tree. That's all Grey Elves.
yeah.
That's Grey
So
Elves.
you have some Fey. You can have areas that are Fey. You can have areas that are dark Fey, and mix between them. So that's one of the things that I want to do in my campaign. I want to develop the dark side of the Fey. I've created the Hag Dragon that I call the Hag Dragon. That is an evil Fey version of the Fairy Dragon, so to speak. So I want to make a whole bunch of dark Fey creatures that inhabited these kind of dark Fey lands, and kind of tie it in together, and when do the gates open into the Fey realm and stuff like that. So I want to have these kind of connections. So yeah. And you have there more than one green dragon can definitely live in Vespi, and you have I should not even try to but it's called the Velvet Empire in the north that was introduced in the Living Greyhawk. I don't like that name, so I've skipped it, but there's definitely a green dragon living up there. And then you have the orcs, the land of the Gebli and the Selbits are up there. So you have some of the most well-recognized orc tribes are close by too. So they can, under the order of Ayus, can try and get in there. So yeah, I think it's definitely a location that is worth visiting, and it's ripe for more development. Yeah.
So Jason Pupic Dad asked, why is there an Order of Yulk symbol on that map right there? And he caught that, and I was like, wow, what? Yeah. All right, so you see this little place called the Eagle's Nest. That is Bill's character, Alanor Moonchild. He's a Sylvan Elf. They found an old ancient keep there that they redid. When he was taking it, by the way, he got critical hit and almost killed by dung thrown by a Lossel. That was funny. Yeah. During that. But yeah, so this is the most remote area of the Order of Yulk, has influence in is the Vespi Forest around that keep, the Eagle's Nest. There's about 4 knights that adventure up in that area, and that is why there is that symbol up there. So great question, man. But yeah, that is where it is. And you got all this other area. It's so massive. It is like Mirkwood massive, right?
I mean, like Sean Allen's comment, Wakanda remote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's someone coined the term the Elven realm of Taranal. That was in your article, Mike. Did you? Your
I think
Elven
that comes
maps?
from. Yeah, maybe that was my map.
Yeah, it was from your map, and I liked it, so I adopted it for my campaign. So now I'm curious where it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah. My old.
Wow.
Exactly.
You can't see anything but it's trust me, it's hand drawn.
Yeah,
that's awesome,
it's super
man.
cool. It's one of it's one of my absolute favorite maps of Greyhawk maps. Yep, and it depicts the elven kingdoms and realms of the Flannies.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And you have the Taranal.
Have you scanned that in so that you have it in digital?
It's on your site somewhere.
Right.
I found it there. So yeah.
As long as you have that.
I don't know.
Well,
oh yeah, it's on your site. I found it there. Okay. So you did a good picture of it.
I'd like to do a better one.
Okay, yeah, but it's so cool, and so I went wild with the Elven realm of Taranal and say it was the old one, and Kirshane is one of the valleys with the original Elven city still survive. And High Folk, the reason that High Folk is separate and called High Folk is that when the Iridian during Great Kingdom came in and wanted to conquer everything, the elves made a concession, and the Great Kingdom and the elves made a concession. Instead of going to war to each other, they actually said that High Folk became an area where humans from the Great Kingdom can actually pass on. So it became like a jointly governed realm where the Great Kingdom could pass on up to Perilland, and humans can go that way. So it became like a half-elven realm that was kind of jointly controlled from High Folk, and that was part of it, so to speak. So, and then when the Great Kingdom started falling apart, fell apart again, and Furundi took over, then the High Folk became now in my campaign a province under Taranal, and it's now coming back more to the full Elven realm again, so to speak.
So yeah, Gary just linked an article from Cannon Fire,
Okay.
an elven city in the
Uh-huh.
Vesby.
Cool. Yep.
By
So that was my next.
by Dongle.
Yep. I have to have an
Talaska.
elven adventure. Yep.
Very cool. I need to
Yep. That's
bookmark
where
this.
I took it from. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Gotta add that to bookmarks. Very, very cool. All right, Mike. We are around again. Hey, what's up, goats?
Let's see. Well,
very, very cool, Gary. I'll take a look at
Greyhawk needs a place called Mahomes. No.
That's so funny.
Not unless it's ruled by a chief, right? Anyhow, let's see. Since Gary's still
you have to. Yes.
Awake,
here it comes.
Let's do another off the beaten path one. I'm going to do 5 reasons to visit Ulm.
Oh, good. Yep.
Yes, Ulm. And mind you, some of this stuff is, of course, my own creation, but
that's great.
A lot of it is you can find the articles online. So first reason is, well, 2 of them are the only 2 towns in Ulm. Ulm's very remote, very kind of blank, sandwiched into 2 mountains. So you got Ulican, the capital, between the Plains of the Paynim and the heartland of Ulm. And it's this frontier town where all the nomads kind of gather, do their business, a lot of fighting, coming and going. It's, if you're an adventurer coming from Backlunish lands or from the Flannis beyond Ket, this is going to be the first place you run into. So if you're visiting Ulm, you're visiting Ulican most likely. All the trails lead to it. Second, if you're going to the Dry Steppes, you're most likely going to go through Kester, the other town, because it's right on the edge of the Dry Steppes. It's another small town, except it's even more remote. It's even more kind of hive of scum and villainy. Think Maz Eisley from Star Wars. So you could encounter damn near anything and anyone. All's interesting because there is no organized religions here. I think the only religions that have gained a foothold is Ralishaz and demon cults.
Oh, wow.
So when you come out here, and you're a cleric, you're on your own. You could get rolled.
No temples to go and cry out.
Right. Yep. I've also personally placed fighting pits in Kester. So if you do want some gladiator action, no holds barred gladiator action, go to Kester.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Were you thinking Conan when you did Ulm a bit? Or...
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Beginning of Conan. Yeah.
Awesome.
The strong survive, come out of that place.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Mentioned by Gary is in the mountains nearby are the monasteries. There are 2 monasteries created by Eric Mona. The Falanil Monastery and the Azor Kem Monastery. Which is which, I don't really remember, but they're not technically in Ulm, but they're adjacent to Ulm. I always thought that's an interesting thing also, is that you have these 2 monasteries right on the edge of a inhospitable land. And, maybe the monks, like to be remote and hide out from everyone there. So those are open for development if anyone wants to use those.
What reference does Eric place them in? Are they just in Cannon Fire, or Gary, do you know?
I think he did an article, like it might be cutting room floor stuff.
Okay.
From something he did a long time ago.
Very cool.
Gary might know better since he was involved
I
in
have to
that.
ask him.
We gotta get him back on the show for that.
Well, yeah, he will
Right.
be. Yeah.
Well, he is. He's. You know what? We can ask him
Yeah.
for Greyhawk Ask the Experts.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yes.
Wow!
That's
At the end of Gary
Yep.
Con.
Mm-hmm.
Backlunist Delights article in Earth Journal. Cool. Thanks, Gary.
So
Thank
two
you.
monasteries. That's right, the Backlunist Delights Earth Journal, and it's one of the early Earth journals, probably the first 10 maybe. Lastly is my own personal favorite, the Tower of Abi Galzin
Oh yes.
in the Ulspurs near Kester. He's got this brooding tower that overlooks the city from high up in the mountains, and no one knows if the wizard's alive or dead. People avoid it because there's zombies and ghouls that wander the highlands. It's been something I've been tinkering with for a long time, but I just snatched that right out of Tome of Magic and put it in all because the character and the Horde Wilting spell were just too cool to be left out there for Forgotten Realms to gobble up.
That is a place where Mike grabbed it and ran with it, and it's so awesome. And his protege Nazim bin Khalifa we used during Greyhawk Con, who was a dual class necromancer elementalist. Yes.
Yeah. Necromancer Elementalist. That's
Elementalist first, Necromancer second after. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a nasty combination.
It was. And you guys remember he broke all those bones. I remember Eric said, that shitty spell.
Gary's character should have had a broken neck.
Yep. Yep. What a fun time that was. I'm glad you did all. That was wonderful. Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna go back to my home base here, and we're gonna throw up another. Was 5, right, Mike?
If I count two monasteries as
go for it.
Two separate. The only other thing I was going to throw out was the Altar of Dewar, which is another place I created for Postfest. Gary has a Postfest coming up near the end of this month, so get in on that. Check Cannon Fire.
Awesome.
I did the Altar of Dewar was my first Cannon Fire article, and it's an art. It's more just like a mysterious place to visit, where like a prophet told his little cult that something bad was going to happen, and that ended up being the invoked devastation.
Oh, yeah.
And there's other mysterious stuff going on with this altar up in the mountains, but you'll just have to look for it on my blog on Cannon Fire. Yes, Mike Lore.
Mike Lore is great lore, right?
5 things.
So we have another Aaron Frook drawing up here. So I'm going to do 5 reasons to visit the Pomarge.
Nice.
They're fantastic.
Nice.
Okay. So first off would be, and it's not on this map, and that is so we'll do that last. So Highport. Highport needs more development. The map is crappy, right? But it has some things written in slavers, but it really needs some development. Now, Tim and I did develop a huge amount of development back in the 80s when we did one-on-one adventuring, right, Tim? And that was really cool back then, but it's probably dated and for the time being. But what a fun, yes, yes, absolutely. So Highport is number 1. Number 2, and we had this argument and discussion. Why is blue named blue, and what is that blue? So, and there's just blue on the map, right? So let's visit.
I prefer to think of it as the harbor.
Yes.
It's a blue pool.
Yeah.
So let's visit blue and find out more about it.
Yeah.
You know, and that would be number 2. 3, another place that really needs some development, and that is Stoneheim. And Stoneheim's like a capital. And it's south of south of the middle part of the Pomarge, and you would think that once again these towns don't have a lot of detail on them. You know, even Greyhawk, Grognard, See the Pomarge and Die really goes over tribes, doesn't go over city detail much. So there isn't as much as
Yeah, I almost feel like it was more of a guide on the tribes of the
Yep.
peninsula,
Yep.
and then he threw in some other things like he couldn't do official stuff that was on the map.
Okay, yeah.
It does make you think, Gary, what he was thinking there. So let me throw up my map here and to Pomor Southeast 2021. Is that the correct one? That is. All right. So some other places we want to talk about on here, and that is, and you can see Stoneheim smack dab in the middle. You go true north, and you want to visit Kalen Lakos, of course, and that is the slavers' home base town. And Earth Dragon is somewhere nearby in Suderham. You have some, let's visit the Earth Dragon himself and see what that's all about, and wonder what is the Earth Dragon. So we want to
Yeah.
go there and visit. And then, last but not least, I got to give myself an own toot on my horn here. If you go to the far west of the Pomarge, and you can barely see them on the lower left-hand corner of this picture. It says Watch 1 and Watch 2. You want a little personal touch there. The Watchers Towers are two Order of Ulec keeps they placed smack out in the middle of the Pomarge. It's kind of like what the military did when they went into the middle of Iraq and just said, "Well, come and get us," and they went in and sent all the tanks in the middle of the town in Baghdad. It's kind of, here, we put two towers up here, now come and wipe us out. And that's where the Watchers Towers are, and they're run by the dwarves of the Order of Ulec, and so we're always having big combats there. So there you go. There's 5 places to visit in the Pomarge. They all have some fun things going on.
Yeah.
As bonus content, I just linked colorful places of Greyhawk. So if you want to
awesome.
see a list of
Exactly,
all place names that were used
cool.
color, you'll be intrigued to find the ones that are in there.
You got yes.
Blue is perfectly ordinary.
Yeah, blue means to be decent or dirty. I did not know that. That's interesting. What's up, Fraley? Good to see you. Okay, Anna, we're round to you. This is round 6. No, round 5. Round 5.
Mm-hmm.
Round 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was thinking, what is the most boring place you'd never, ever, ever want to visit in the Flannies?
10.
And
no.
Yeah, might be. Yeah, but even more boring than that. The most boring and the most boring I could come up with is the Barren Plains up in the north.
Oh, see, Tim's gonna Barrens.
And I was thinking, are there any reasons to go there in your adventuring in the most boring part of the world that basically has nothing? If you look at the Darlene map, it's just a green expanse of nothing that is roughly, yeah. You have the cold marshes covers a large area of it, so it's kind of subarctic wilderness and tundra, and that's basically it. So what are the reasons for it? But I think that there are some interesting reasons why you want to go to the Barren Plains and north of the cold marshes and also the cold marshes in itself. But that area, it's that it's featureless. And meaning you can basically construct it like an outdoor labyrinth. If you make it a map, and I will make one for that reason in the future, where you can actually show a little bit of it, and then people can get lost. They can follow these little streams, and they see one little lake and they see another little lake. It's if there's somewhere where you need a ranger and also maybe some magic knowing where north is, that's the spot, so to speak. Either middle of Solnor or the Barren Plains. That's where you can get lost. That's where you need a ranger or someone who really knows their survival skill and know how to find their way around. So that could be, if you want to have a kind of an odd, weird wilderness challenge for your players, that is, I think the Barren Plains is interesting from that perspective. And the other one, it's cold and wet and dark in the winters. So it's, if there's some place you want to run an adventure where you want to have survival for the elements, and it's in the winter, it's basically dark 24/7. The sun might never ever rise. So it's brutally cold, dark, and windy and dangerous as hell from simply that reason. And it's also in the dark. You can imagine with VTT, you have a circle where you can have your little feeble light and you go around looking for something. And if you miss it by 200 yards, it could be on the moon, so to speak. So you have to kind of roll dice to see how accurate they are in their navigation. It could be for an adventure that is talked about afterwards because it was so tedious and boring and difficult as hell, so to speak. So sometimes you want to frustrate your players, and I think that's the second good reason why you can have it. But there are creatures up here, meaning you have the rovers of the barrens, you have the wolf nomads, meaning you have barbarians,
You have
and nomads.
Tim's group.
Exactly, and then you have the IU's humanoids and stuff are up there, so they're up there hunting and doing conquering and stuff like that. So you can have some nasty, and then you can have variants of the trolls could be up there, for instance. If you want to have some ice trolls or some cold trolls invented or something, it could be perfect. Can you imagine the characters being tired, cold, lost, and then being attacked by a tribe of cold marsh trolls or something like that? That could be for an encounter that could be really scary and creepy and whatnot. So that's the other reason for that way. And then there are some very, very weird locations located up. It seems like various kind of quirky characters from the Greyhawk back in history seems to have lost their body parts and stuff up there. So you have let me zoom in here. You have various. You have the tomb of Urek's hands, for instance. I don't even know what that is, but it's some of these kind of cool things. And then you have the tomb of Zung's hands. And up there, and you have the dungeon of bleeding walls.
Ooh.
and ice gate and stuff. So the melted fane. So and there's some weird things just kind of out there in the and you have the Annie's Lakes are up there, the land of the curse witch, and I can't imagine anything more scary than to run a featureless landscape. And
oh, look at that.
Yeah. Yep.
Mike, you better have all those scanned in, man.
Yep. So that's a great map. So that's a location I want to throw in a little bit of kind of credit to go to. It's the most boring, one of the most remote locations, the one that doesn't have anything when you normally think of a location to go and have fun adventures. But actually, when you think about it, it could be some horrific, fun, challenging, well, not fun, but tedious, scary, tormenting adventures to go there. And I think every campaign or game group should have some of these adventures that are not fun the normal way. They are tedious, boring, scary, whatever. So you appreciate the other adventures, so to speak. The one that is outside the box, that is so bad, that is so horrible and terribly boring. So you want to go back and raid your local castle and go in your local city dungeons and stuff afterwards. So yeah.
Awesome.
That was my fifth location. Yeah.
Mike, you got to do me a favor on the next one.
Sure.
You gotta do one of your ones from your blog, because Casey's driving me freaking crazy in Discord. So we gotta do Band of Kingdoms.
Okay.
Band of Kingdoms.
So I was. Yeah,
I'm busting your stats.
I was avoiding.
Oh no! He forced us. He's like, I'm coming on. There, go ahead.
Bandit Kingdoms. Oh, he's on. All right, take it.
Good. Out.
No sound.
Hello.
No sound.
No, I'm just here to sit in and listen.
Nice.
Awesome.
Oh wait, hang on, I'm not done yet.
Oh, you have that on every day, so you have it ready
right.
just in
Nice.
case.
I was just
Yeah.
working, and it's pure coincidence. Working on my Ghosts of
We
Salt
don't
Marsh
believe you.
campaign.
Yeah.
There you
we
go.
don't
I
believe
got
you.
the Band of
Yeah.
Kingdoms, where the bandits are, map up. So
That's a great article. That's in like Dragon 56 or
it's
73.
very early. Yep, very, very early.
No, please, Mike, because I want to commentate on your choices.
Go ahead, Mike.
It was a great article on your blog, by the way.
Is Mike frozen?
now that I look at see that I left.
It was frozen a bit.
There you go. You were frozen out, Mike. So your picks are frozen.
Damn.
It's all right. You can still talk.
All right.
Bandit Kingdoms.
Yeah.
Bandit Kingdoms. No, now that I look at my article, I see that I didn't put Alhaster on there, which is surprising because
Oh. Casey came on. Now Mike's having technical difficulties.
Go on with it.
I brought the demons with me.
Yeah, Mike, you're
So
Now you're back again.
I'm breaking up.
now you're good.
Oh, no,
now you're good.
You're good.
You're good. Yeah, she didn't put Alhaster on there.
White Mountain.
Well, we didn't have a lot of info on Alhaster until probably Age of Worms, and it's briefly mentioned in Living Greyhawk Gazetteer. But I think before that, all we knew that was Zeech was some sort of a cleric fighter out of Red Hand, right? I think in that article you have up there from Dragon Magazine. And Living Greyhawk, we established it as a very lawful, kind of the only bastion of the Great Kingdom left in the Bandit Kingdoms. You know, they used to worship Hyronius. They used to be part of the Shield Lands, but they kind of went dark, and they've started worshiping Hextor because of Zeech. And then we left it with Zeech's redemption so that both Hextor and Hyronius were openly worshipped in that town at the end of Living Greyhawk. But it had like whitewashed buildings. You know, it was a port town. It was the only port town. So it had the big docks, and IUs took them over during Living Greyhawk. Actually, it's in the Gazetteer to build his, navy for the near div. But yeah, Alhaster's a neat little town in that it's actually fairly civilized. We swapped out the orcs for hobgoblins. We figured lawful evil humanoids would be a better fit for that town than the chaotic evil ones. We had a lot of fun there.
Go ahead, Mike. You're still chopped, but go ahead. Let's see if we can
Am
get
I?
you. Yeah, you're good now. You're good.
White Plume Mountain is the main reason to go to the Bandit Kingdoms. If you're going there for adventures, you got to hit White Plume Mountain.
Yeah, we couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
That was one of those no-go areas for us.
And that's a huge shame. But,
so is Dragotha in White Plume or not? I always forget.
No.
Nope.
There's an arrow pointing away from the mountain.
Yes.
The lair of Dragotha.
Oh, okay.
What other spots, Mike?
Well, there's always Rift Canyon.
Yes.
And all the sub-locations that you can visit there. Thanks to Age of Worms, you can probably come up with 5 reasons to visit the Rift Canyon.
Yep.
And not the least of being giants and shadows and things of crawling fissures and whatnot.
Yeah, Gazetteer tells us there's actually humans living there, the men of the Rift, who had fled from the Iusians. They had fled Riftcrag before Kranzer took it over. Crazy. Imagine, like you were talking about Conan earlier. Riftcrag could be one of those evil towns straight out of a Conan movie, ruled by a crazy spellcaster. There's humanoids everywhere, or something like out of the movie Heavy Metal, where they're just walking around in the streets bashing each other. The economy is run by the silver mines, and they have to ship that all to Dorica in the Rift Canyon. And I really love Anna's idea that it's really not a canyon; it's a valley. It's a really huge.
Yeah.
It's not really right to make it crazy, magical, deep. It needs to be deeper than.
It's like Mariana's Trench on Mars. It's not a valley. I mean, it's not a canyon. It's a freaking.
Yeah. And I really like the idea that there's mind flayers there under the Tangles Forest. We did that during Living Greyhawk. Nice. Obviously, you have the Cayuse stuff. Right. That'd be a passage to the Underdark for sure. You have the Cayuse stuff over in the eastern side. We put something called Screaming Reach Manor, where some idiot actually built a house on the edge of the Wormcrawl Fissure.
Sure, that's smart.
To do some sort of research on the Sons of Cayuse or whatever the undead are in that region.
Well, that's what the Giants did in that Age of Worms.
Was
it? They built their city on the side of the cliffs. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous.
But I think that's one of the cool things with the Rift Canyon. the Underdark can actually have balconies out in the open, so to speak, and the Illithid, they can come out and look up and come out deep down, miles down, so to speak. I think that will be a cool idea.
They can go outside and smoke a cigar without their Illithid wives getting mad at them.
Yeah, exactly. You can have all sorts of cool things popping out, and Rift Canyon is one of these, can be a conduit for a lot of things. You can have dragons flying down there looking at the Illithids or whatever. So it opens up very interesting possibilities.
Yeah. And I actually think I like the idea of dinosaurs, like a Land of the Lost kind of vibe for the bottom of the Rift Canyon could exist if you wanted to go that way. Other weird monsters, Behears, I think are mentioned, Displacer beasts, things like that. Obviously, the dragon that I'm all about is Morgenstaller over in the east side of the canyon, big old red dragon who likes to waylay people and, you know, have his way with consensually with various species. Because we're not going to go that dark.
That consensually?
Yeah, I don't want to go that dark.
I know you don't want
evil.
to. So.
And Living Greyhawk, it was, yeah.
Okay, yep.
But,
and
Verilos, Gary's Verilos.
Yep, Verilos.
Very cool.
That canyon's got a lot going on.
Yep.
So, I'm up. And I have to, before the night ends, go here.
Yeah, go for it.
I have to go to that big heraldry picture that Mike wrote up there, and that is, of course, we have to go to the free city of Altamira. And oh, Casey left. 5 reasons to visit. Reason number 1. It's new and different, and most of you don't have any idea about it, right? There you go. It's a new city location that most of you do not know. Where's Mike? Greyhawk Mike did that map for a blog post. He hand wrote it up in what, 30 minutes? You said?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. So that is number 1. So
before Altamira and you developed it, who owns that land?
County of Ulick. It's right on the County of Ulick, Principality of Ulick border, and so we. So
there's another reason to knock Corwood off it, because this kind of is in between, right?
Yes. Let me throw this up here. If you look at this map here, you can see a little bit more clearly where the designation is. It's not on the. See, as Anna puts out, this whole area, Tree Home and out, is County of Ulick still. So there you go.
The Corwood is another interesting case of people putting it on the map on the Ulick side, but in the text it's on the Selene side. So it's again, it's a good example that text should trump maps, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, and just I always had that feeling from day one. It felt like a Selenian town, and that's a good thing. Notice I've cut it off here because I have down other things. Because, you know, Rich and I are still fighting over where the hidden temple of Rithnal is, and I say Anna's map trumps Rich's decision all day long, Longitalis. Right, Gary? Right. So there you go. That discussion's ended. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2. And that is the keeps and castles. So when it was founded, there were 3 keeps, there were cavaliers at the time, knights now, Knights of Ulick, and those locations. And also in the center of town is the wonderful Tower of Alana, and you've seen it. It's one of the best pieces, and this is a non-bill craft, by the way, everyone. There it is, and that is smack dab in the middle. You've seen that before with the fletching and everything. The company did this for us. I don't know. It's got to be almost 20 years ago. Stellarian Games, he did it, and I couldn't believe how inexpensive that was. But what a beautiful piece that is, and so that's one of our highlight pieces, and you'll see that come Gary Con.
Looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and just look at the detail. I mean, you can see, look, there's fletchings on the small. Look, there's arrows on the small areas of it too. It's just beautiful. What a beautiful piece that is. Number 3, a very it's just wonderful. A very little known fact. There is a very, very prominent in my campaign Guild of Magic. There's a Magic Users Guild in Free City of Altamira with its own library and its own casters. Most of them are player characters. So there's no one super high level. And I have the entire spell list of what they have that anyone of the member, when they research there, they have access to certain spells based on their class. So there's Guild of Magic users there. That's number 3. Number 4, the only place in all of Greyhawk in the setting that I know of that has a Bounty Hunters Guild. Right? Because I'm the only one with the class. So the Guild of Bounty Hunters is in Altamira. They don't believe there's an Assassin's Guild in there. There currently isn't, but there is a Bad Thieves Guild in there. But yes, the Guild of Bounty Hunters is here. And I'll do a little joke for number 5. And Gary always says, "What the hell is that?" And where else in the entire world of Greyhawk can you find a grove of kumquat trees? Right, and that's that's the symbol on the shield, and that's where it was founded, at a large grove of kumquat trees. What the hell, you know? So there you go. If you want to taste some of Hoops's Fruit Market's kumquats, this is where you go to get them. So they're in Valuna too, Escher. So there you go. They're my five for Altamira.
I find that very amusing, because, like, I don't know if it's the first chapter or one of the first chapters of the Greyhawk Guide is about trees.
Oh yeah.
So it's a very Gygax thing to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think that's what drew you to the heraldry. Like, what is that? What is that on the heraldry? And Brian Blumklotz, when he first made it for me, said, "This is the closest I think I can find to a kumquat," because I had to have it on there. So yeah, it's just what a fun time. All right, Anna, as we're getting close to that shout-out time, we'll finish up tonight with what we got. Go
I
for
have
it.
one more location that I want to add for the touristy reasons. The other ones have been places where you go to get killed and hurt and find interesting monsters and scary places. But I want a city that have become kind of dear to my heart in the Flannies, that I think should be visited, not for adventuring reasons at all, because I don't think there's that much adventure to be found normally in there. But it's a city that, if you weren't interested in history, old architecture, yummy food, and some kind of old feel of things. The reason why American goes to European cruises to watch these old empire cities that used to run empires and stuff back in the day, and now are just fancy old kind of cute quaint places. And there is such a place, I think, in the Flannies too. And the city I'm talking about is the city of Reldevin. It was founded early on in the Great Kingdom days, before the Great Kingdom, so early days, I think it was founded, and it's been a metropolis, a large city for several millennia. So it's a really old and established city by Greyhawk standards, way older than the city of Greyhawk. But the city of Greyhawk was not even a village. Reldevin was probably a metropolis. And it's been there, and it's also one of these cities that probably never been conquered, never been ransacked by war or anything like that. So it's there, and it's been fairly stable, and it also has some awesome architecture, has one of the most impressive magic schools and stuff like that, and is run by a wizard, and has a wizard academy that is legendary throughout the Great Kingdom. So it's probably something architecturally interesting to look at. And it also has some weird cult that worships blue lights outside the city. They hang out blue lights and they worship them. So that could be kind of a nice, quaint thing to do. And they probably have yummy food from all over the Great Kingdom, so to speak, and old chefs and stuff. And if you want to live in the inns where have the coolest rooms that have been around for probably 800 years or longer, I think Reldevin is your choice. Fine wine and stuff from southern parts, and probably some more nasty drinks from up north or somewhere too. So I want to push the Reldevin as a tourist destination. Yeah, definitely.
So when Gary says Darlene missed it, when did it finally reappear on the map?
I'm not so sure what it did, but it's interesting because it appears in various. I think it's I think it's in the Gord books.
Okay.
I think it's where I think it appeared the first time. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. Is
Yep.
it on Gary's original map that you have there?
Hang on. That's a very good point. So let me go and. That is a very good point.
First appeared on Sergeant Ash's map, Gary. But let's see. Anna has the Leonard copy of Gary's map. So is it on there? That is a good question. And it was missed by Darlene, or is it added because of the Gord books?
Let's see. There we go.
I remember when those maps first came out, and I'd see new cities on that map, and I'm thinking, Darlene didn't, put these on the map, and who, I was like, who do these people think they are adding these towns on here? And,
nope, it's not.
I was actually offended.
Okay, it's not. Okay,
it's
so
not. No, it's not. Yep.
Good to know. Good to know that it wasn't a true 100% miss, and then it's kind of like
not. So it's kind of interesting. One of these things snuck in the back door, so to speak. So
Truly. All right. So wow, it's 10 of, and I'll tell you. The areas that Mike has that he didn't get to, Keelan, Great Kingdom, and Ayus are all on his blog. You can see all of them. No problem.
Yeah, we all know everything about those places, so just check out the blog.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Gary. It appeared on Sergeant's from the Ashes map.
Keelan has like 25 reasons, and I'll give you 26 because Gary with Keelan and Carlos is on, and that is, of course, this, which is sold out, by the way, completely sold out.
5.
What's that? Yeah,
the whole marshes is one of my 5.
Yes, beautiful. So, good to see you got one in because restocks are coming in. But wow, thank you for that great support. Sold, yes, absolutely, sold completely out.
Nice segue on the Isle of Dread there, Gary.
Yep, nice, absolutely. Thank you. So I didn't do Wild Coast, but we kind of did it last week with the slavers, so I don't need to go back to that. So I got most of mine in. That was fun, and guess what? We can always go back to it and do some others.
Yes.
And we'll have some cool. That's good to hear, Carlos. We'll have
Speaking
some more.
of slavers, real quick, since
sure, go for it.
We still have Carlos here. I was going through one of my old Steno notebooks from back in the day when I was doing my Epic campaign, and I'll be damned if I didn't find I know you won't be able to see it because of glare, but I did use Marquesa, and I upgraded her to 20th level.
Wow. So you pre-Marquesa'd Marquesa.
Fighter 7th, Wizard 13th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's before slavers.
No, that's during slavers.
That's during slavers, okay.
Yeah,
right.
I'm just saying that was while I was running my Epic campaign. So I had to up the levels on all those characters because my players were running 20th level characters.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nuclear Marquesa.
Oh my God! 5 reasons to visit the Tiger Nomads because they look like Tiger Man from Buck Rogers. How's that? There's one. If you remember Tiger Man. Oh, yes. All right, so let's do some shout outs here. We got a lot going on, of course, as always. So Anna, kick us off.
Okay, so people who have looked at my Patreon blog, my website hasn't been updated. I'm so sorry. I need to give it some TLC, and I did some technical maintenance on it today. So there will be updated content and stuff coming on that one that only resides on the Patreon blog. But on the Patreon blog, I've done, I think it was the 5th article in the series of how I'm doing my new generation of Greyhawk maps. And we're getting into I think the most interesting bit to look at, and texturing. And nothing is easy in the world of 3D graphics. So texturing has to be done in 2 steps. So it doesn't have to be, but if you want to do it thoroughly and you want to have data, it could be used in many different ways. I want to use it in game engines, make PDFs, JPEGs, BTTs, whatever. That way I need to have the data on where trees grow, where it's grass, etc., where beaches are, and so on and so forth. So the first is the splat map, and then after that is real texturing. So I'm working on that. And the good thing is that that's the last step in making all the map data, so to speak. So that means that now I'm ready to lay out the groundwork for Lendor Isles, because now I know that my workflow works the whole way, so to speak. So now I'm going to start laying down the foundations for Len Lakofka's Lendor Isles. And it will be, I don't know exactly, that probably 100 miles, so that's like 45,000 pixels or something like that across, because we're talking 5 feet per pixel resolution here. So it's going to be detailed, so to speak. And now we have a lot of the material. I have the city maps for Restenford and Garotten and Kroken and a whole bunch of the other places.
That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. So the first bit will be to lay out the terrain of the land, and then have that out on review, and then move into to kind of detail it, make sure we get rivers in the right spot, lakes are in the right spot, etc. So but the work on Lendor Isles is going to start in a week or so. So that will be because now I know that the workflow actually works. I've tested every part of the way, so to speak. So I know I can actually puzzle things together and so on and so forth. And it's interesting from more than that perspective, because now I can actually start having a time plan and start seeing areas to work on and of interest. And I don't have to work on everything and go from one to the other and fill in. I can fill in the gaps afterwards, which is cool. So that way I can work on interesting areas, and then we can have them as separate, like realm by realm, and then fill in the gaps afterwards and actually get it to match, because I tested that too. So that is the big thing, so to speak. It's that we can kind of move from developing basic technology and stuff, and it's kind of, now it's kind of weird that it's taken me 10 years to get here, but in a way I kind of understand why it's taken that way. Now afterwards, why didn't I think of all this in a year or two? Meaning it's the same tool I basically used, at least I've had the same tool for 5 years. So at least I could have figured out in 6 months or something, but I wasn't smart enough. So it's taken me this much experience to figure out how to tackle things like weird rivers and drainage and things like that, to have elevation and to puzzle to make one piece of the terrain actually match the next one, etc. So these are kind of weird technical things. But that also means that now I need to so once I've done the start laying out start working on Lendor Isles, I also start to need to work on the big picture, the really big picture. And we need to put because I know where Lendor Isles is, and that will be a separate little unit. So I need to make sure that, so the big planetary maps, the overview map needs to have some more work on it, and also to put in the climates and stuff like that. So that's something that will come late this spring too, to start working on that, because I have the basic idea, but we need to get more of it, so we can at least have a working model of where the Flannies are and where it is, and also where the different climate zones and stuff are, because that will be part of texturing and trees and all that stuff. And also, again, thank you so much to everyone who's helping me out. It's fantastic. I get so much support and attention and stuff. So that's fantastic. So yep. So that was my it's a lot of work, but it's starting to pay off. And the maps will look kind of awesome when they're really done, so to speak.
So please note that we'll be going. You'll see out in post. I'll talk about this during my part, but
yep.
Anna's we're going to talk about when Anna's map making for Gary Con is coming up too.
That will be the chance to go over both the process a little bit and what it means, what we can do with stuff like this, and also some of the considerations and stuff that I want to that will be a big part of my 2-hour or more seminar, so to speak, will be to present this and have it, what kind of resources we can expect, and what you as DMs and just Greyhawk fans and stuff, how you because this is new type of map that you're supposed to be able to use, and you can make it your own. You can put roads where you want to and stuff like that without too much trouble. So that's the idea. The map I have now is something I've done, and then I ship it out, and it's hard to change anything. This this is going to be different because they're all levels of data, so you can go in and change things at the level you want to. So there's a bunch of stuff. So there will be more videos and more blog posts and stuff, and all the raw files and stuff will be available too. So you can make your own version the whole way. But first I need to make versions that work for me, so to speak. And we've just been in the prototype stage. So from now on, I'm going to sanitize the files from all the crap that that kind of crept in there during all the code that crept in there during development phase. So the files right now are useful for me, but not anyone else. No one else would understand them. So then I have to make versions that are sanitized from all the old crap, so to speak. And that will work. So it's coming. Yep.
Awesome. Mike, what's up, man? What we got going?
Oh, just check my blog. You've all been reading it plenty tonight. I think the last thing I put on there was about some classic modules that I have not ran yet, kind of like my wish list of stuff to run. So, but nothing new yet. I ran another session of my Greyhawk campaign recently. Now that everyone's getting vaccinated, we might be getting back to that more regularly.
Good to hear.
Set in the Duchy of Ernst, there is some startling revelations soon to come to the blog that I'll share with you. It's some quite heretical stuff that will blow your mind. That's about all I can say.
Cool.
I forgot about that. I should have mentioned that. We ran our, I think it was the 8th session in my Shieldlands campaign, and we're still in the same village. We never.
Are they
left
still
the
0
village.
level, Anna?
They're still 0 level, but they had the first big fight. So the whole village was upset, and they started burning down the building and all sorts of diversion. So yeah, so a big fight broke out, and we're halfway through that fight, I think. So the next session will be the other half of that fight.
That's awesome.
So they turned the village upside down, and it was a lot of fun. It was way more than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a part of bringing the campaign forward a little bit story-wise, but they took the matters into their own 0 level hands and started a major fight, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah.
Very cool. So Mike can't mention that. What else? Anything else there, Mike? That you can't mention about that game? No?
No, that's plenty.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's plenty.
That's plenty. So, all right, where do I start? I got to start somewhere. We're going to start with tomorrow night. So tomorrow night we have adventure number 903. And that is called Dangers Within the Sus. So I already showed the map where the Principality of York and the Princefield got expanded. So it's going to start there. It's in the crappy village of Brenfluss, which is on the map, which is right here in this part of Patriots of Ulick, right there, village of Brenfluss. That's where it's going to start. And Alan's Sylvan Elf fighter Benian, and he started this up a long time ago, has a brother. His brother's name is Bernardin, and Bernardin is a necromancer, and Bernardin always scared him by animating stuff he shouldn't when he was a kid. That's why he has a fear of undead. And he gets a letter from Bernardin, and that starts the adventure. There you go. That's all I'll give away for that tomorrow night. It's Reaper Miniatures sponsor night, so we're going to have some good giveaways from Reaper. As always, check it out, and that'll be tomorrow night, normal time. It's probably a 2-weeker. It's not 3, and I don't think it's 1, so it's 2. So Danger was in the Sus. Tomorrow night, 7:30. Note that the next Gabbin is number 135. We continue our discussion on great new class development. So I will be discussing the Inquisitor, the Undead Hunter, Necromancer, Shadow Mage, all my creations. The ever mysterious Tim should be joining us to talk about his Commando and his Scout class. And Anna plays the Commando in his Barbarian game, and the Scout is a play tested in my group that we're playing on Thursday. Unfortunately, Tim cannot come now, so no Finder. And remember, Finder's the guy who always sets off traps. He always set off all the traps in Carlos Adventures or whatever, you know. So I'm going to NPC him, Tim, and let him do his thing. Just kidding. Well, maybe I'm not. So we'll see you for that one Sunday night. That'll be my little. Just say hello. Just say happy birthday to me. That the next day, Monday, is the 8th. I'm also getting a COVID shot that day, and so is Phantom. So there you go. On my birthday, yay! I turned 54. Yes.
Shot.
Yes. Oh gosh. I can't believe I'm turning 54. Can a necromancer raise a family in peace? I guess they can't. And it's, of course, I throw my comedic and spin on this. We'll have some fun with that one next Wednesday. Do not miss Legends and Lore. Everything about the Isle of Dread with Gary Julian. And Gary says he will have a special handout for everyone who attends.
I was about to say hard pass, but now he's got me hooked back in.
Yes.
Yep. Cool.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I am. I am 53. Soon turning 54. Yep. There you go. Yes. So Gary, and this has been planned for a while, and Gary needed the time and the space, and I let him run with it. So it's going to talk about everything you wanted to know, how it got pilfered in, some little tricks of that, and you know, I'm excited about this. Because also we had this scheduled, so I have to worry about a topic for next week. So that one is done. So also coming up, note that the Gabbin for 2 weeks is open. Gabbin for 3 weeks, the 21st, is the GaryCon preview Gabbin with special guest returning Luke Gygax. Okay, and that is Gabbin Sunday on the 21st. Luke will be on to discuss that. I may have a couple other people on to talk to Luke that night. All right, so barring some other quote-unquote hint disasters going on, which some of us out in the audience know what I'm talking about, I'm going to go with and show you once again. We have I'm going to be posting this all over social media, but the GaryCon schedule is set, and we have multiple events. I think I counted like 60 in there. And don't forget to give away, everyone. So just note that we had Time Lord's wife Kayla, and that is Friday. I needed Thursday, filled the very last spot Thursday at 10. She's got a really cool idea. It's called Heir Apparent. And we'll give her, you know, Kayla's new to the Greyhawk world, so I let her run. She wanted to do something with Greek gods, and I said, you can do it with Greyhawk gods. So she's going to have like sons and daughters of Sul Len Lakafka gods running around, which I think is going to be really cool in a one-shot. Yeah. So that'll be neat. You know, Cord, Ouija, all Ouija, all the. Oh, it's a full schedule, Grendel, full. We also got Fable 42 joining us. We got our Min joining us for the first time on that day. You know, we got a lot of. Where's Rich? I don't know where Rich is. He's missing it. So yeah, no, Fariston's not a soul god there, Josh. So and then note, I won't do the rest of this, but there's the Friday one. And notice we had to move some stuff around and all. Working with Gary Gygax, Steven Chenault, you know, had something. Yeah, some really. There he is. You are here. So yes, Soul God time. Note that. Josh is working on some things behind the scenes, but we got some great content all 4 days. Alan Grohe got his 2 events in; they're in now. Scott Casper's got something in. I mean, I know. I think Katano's got something in. I know Prometheus has something in. I know Oblivion has something in. I mean, we got stuff in from a lot of great people in the community. So yes, give it all a. You know, let's work through any of the bizarrities out there and get it all done. And Josh is, like I said, Josh is behind the scenes working on that. And each of the 7 drums are right up. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we got coming up, and I know I'm forgetting stuff, but you know, it's one of those nights where my brain is fried. So let's do the giveaways, okay? Shall we?
Yep.
So, there you go, Josh. Carlos, Josh took care of it. 2 sign-ups, 4 on his own, I believe it was. But Carlos can fit free. we're taking care of all the BS behind the scenes. So there you go. Yep. Case good. There you go. Boom. Got it. Yeah. After my rant on Facebook Messenger, that was no, they don't go live yet. So there you go. So we have there should be an apology coming too there, Carlos. Let's hit up the giveaways here. First one is the biggest one's a $25 gift certificate, and that's courtesy of our friend Troy Cannonball. Listen, Carlos, this is a community, right? And this is all of us together as a team, and it's one for all and all for one here. And Chuck came to me with something, and you came to me, and the whole group, and we're rolling with it. And there's Fabled 42's event, Prater's Rejects event, Nightheart Gaming's event. They don't have any open signups. So, Carlos, you have two. That's I'm saying it's everyone's choice playing these games. It's good. It's cool, and it should have never gotten to that point. And Gary Kahn, his family, and Greyhawk, his family. You're good, man. So awesome, and we need you. We need you on that Friday night. Absolutely, 100%. All right, let me do the giveaways here. Did I close it out? Oh, thank God. I thought I closed it out by accident, and I was like, oh no. Yo, there's our Orcus. Hey, Andy, thank you for the follow on Facebook too. I just saw you just did that. Orcus Rex DM Andy. Closing it out, man. Did you sign up? Sign up, please. Last call. I'll give everyone 15 seconds. Exclamation point drawing. These are Troller Games giveaways, so we don't have to worry about anything. There you go. So, and that one, oh, notice I messed up. It says the art of Mike Disney and me. Thank you. That was Sunday nights. See, I didn't even catch my own typo, Anna and Mike, in that.
Yeah. But it's good that you mentioned Mike
yes.
Disney. Yeah.
So, yes.
Awesome.
All right, here we go. Closing this out. Here we go. The winner of the $25 gift certificate, because I think that's the biggest one of them all. If you want the Verdant Rage with the shipping, you can have that too. And here we go. The winner is Cardman2467. He was the first person on tonight in chat when I said anyone there. So hopefully he's still here. Cardman, you still here, man? Let me check. He was I don't see him. Wait a minute. Do I see him on? He's on. All right. Cardman's on. All right. I'm giving it to him. If he was number one on. So 2467. I see him in the chat thing. So all right. Winner number 2. This one's for the. This is for Verdant Rage. Hard copy with shipping. Okay. Crazy Cyber. He was just right there. I see him. Crazy Cyber, you got it. All right. Crazy Cyber, if I don't have your address, actually, I don't need to send you your address. This is a code. So you can sign up, go in the Troller Game Store and get this yourself. I don't need your address. I got you down. All right. Two PDFs of this as well. So you can go right on, boom, and download these free. Here you go. 2 PDFs. I ran this, guys, and Oblivion Les said, hey, where I placed it in Narwhal, right outside Narwhal, and putting it in the Gnarly, I'm sorry, he said that was an inspired placement. So it's on the map now. It's on Anna's map, this adventure. It's Greyhawk set now. Comray's on the map just north of Narwhal, so you can run with this right in Greyhawk. All right? Cool. And also Halfling Hall's on the Greyhawk map too. All righty? Next winner. 2000 Caesar. Got you. It's all you too. Okay, that's a PDF. That's the PDF version. Hard copy. $25. And last winner of one more PDF. Okay? Is.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna raid right into Will, so please stick by, okay?
Yeah.
Last winner. Goats are goats. I saw goats. Hey. There you go, goats. I will get everyone, I promise, by tomorrow morning the codes. Okay, I may get them out tonight, but thank you all for a wonderful show. And tomorrow night, some great giveaways from Reaper. Come on in, hang out, lurk if you have to. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, Cartman, you won.
Yes, Cardman, you won. Cardman, you ran the $25 gift certificate to Troller Games. I'll be sending you the code. So congrats, everyone. And there's Kayla, Time Lord's wife. Give her some love. I think she's got 3 of her 6 signups are open for that game, for her game Heir Apparent, which would be really cool. And thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Anna. All right, give me a second here to hit the wrong button, and end it tonight. Let's raid into Will and give him some love. All right, talk to you all. See you all tomorrow night. Boom. Remember, what was it last week? I forgot to do the giveaways.
Oh, yeah, you have to come back in again.
Yes. Yeah. Raiding into Will. Wicked Studios LLC.
Incoming.
Thank you for the refollow, Orcus Rex. I'm glad you did that. Thank you so very much. All right, raid. Let's crank this up. Let's get it up over. Let's hope to get it over 70. I know I'm always pushing my luck here. All right, we're almost at 60. We'll take it. 57's good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night. Have a good one. Awesome.
Yeah, that's a topic.
That was awesome. That worked real well.
At all.
Yeah, that was great.
Yep,
that was great. So I hate to say this, Mike. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to try and pilfer more. I'm going to go through more of your logs because.